Good day to all of you guys. We can start discussing Chapter 8 from Module 2, that is controlling the boot process. Controlling the boot process. Right. So first, let me tell you the page number, guys. You have to open the second book, that means the second student guide. That means Module 2 student guide. Under Module 2 student guide, it's there on page number 241. Right, page number 241, Chapter 8, control the boot process. Okay. Right. So guys, earlier in previous chapters, I have explained you how the system is going to boot up. Right. Now today, we are trying to understand more about the boot process and how we can control the boot process. What are the available boot targets? Okay, right. Okay. So guys, here first we have to understand how the boot process is organized in a Linux server, right? I have earlier explained you, right, how the boot process is managed, right? Okay. Right. Now, guys, first what will happen? I told you the processor will start processing. Processor will start processing. Then it will pass it to BIOS. So what BIOS is going to do, it will check for the bootable devices and it will figure out the hard disk. Hard disk. Right. So then, guys, I told you on the first few sectors of our hard disk, we have got the MBR, Master Boot Record, or as GPT. We have the bootloader. We have the partitioning table. Partition 1, partition 2, partition 3, partition 4, and we have the finishing sector ID, AA55. Right? So guys, it will figure out our partitions. So inside the boot partition, we have the kernel image, guys. So it will start reading the kernel image, and then kernel will come up and it will start the first process, that is system D. That is the first process which will get started at the boot time. The duty of system D process is to start all the other services, right? That's how the boot process will go on. Right. Next, guys, we have to understand what are the available boot targets. First, we have to understand what does it mean by a boot target. Boot target. What does it mean by a boot target? Boot target එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? So guys, we have different boot targets. Boot target means a level that a machine can boot up to. A level that a machine can boot up to. Machine එකකට boot වෙන්න පුළුවන් level එක. එයාට එක එක levels වලට boot වෙන්න පුළුවන්. It can boot up to different levels, guys. So these different levels are created for different usages. These different levels are created for different usages. එක එක ප්‍රයෝජන සඳහා තමයි මේ එක එක විදිහට levels දාලා තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඒතර බලමු මොනවද මේ levels, මොනවටද මෙච්චර කල් machine එක boot වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. So guys, here you can see my command line. Right, let me connect to server A. Systemctl get default. Guys, you can see our system has got booted up to multi-user target, right? First, I will write down the major targets which we have in Linux. Then later we can see what are the advantages and disadvantages of these targets. At top, we have the graphical target, guys. Graphical target. Then we have the multi-user target. Then we have emergency target. Emergency target. Then we have rescue target. Right? We have emergency target and we have rescue target. Right? We have got 4 main targets. Guys, here you can clearly understand that the first 2 targets are being used for our regular usage. These 2 targets are being used for our regular usage. So emergency target and rescue target, these 2 targets will be used for emergency situations, will be used for critical situations, to recover our system, to correct few errors, right? We can do error checking for our file systems using emergency and rescue. So recovery and rescue purposes, we use these 2 targets, guys, emergency and rescue. So please understand, in our day-to-day tasks, guys, we will never use these 2 targets. These 2 targets will be used only for recovery purposes. For our regular usage, guys, we have graphical target and multi-user target. අපේ සාමාන්‍ය පාවිච්චියට අපිට තියෙනවා multi-user target එකයි graphical target එකයි. ඒ දෙක විතරයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙච්ච වෙලාවකට තමයි අපි rescue එකයි emergency එකයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. ඔය හතර තමයි අපිට mainly තියෙන targets හතර. අපි බලමු කොහොමද මේ targets හතරත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්නේ කියලා. Right. Okay. Now guys, here you can see server A has got booted up to multi-user target. Guys, multi-user target means only the command line is available, right? Only the command line is available. Let me connect to workstation server. Guys, in the workstation server, you can see the system is booted up to graphical target, but on server A, the system is booted up to multi-user target, right? Let me do one thing. Let me show you the difference between these 2. Right. Now, guys, if you look at workstation server, you can see that workstation server has got booted up to the GUI level. See, GUI is there inside the workstation server. We have got the GUI, guys. See, let me workstation server. GUI. Here you can see we have got the GUI, guys. So I can do a graphical login. See, I can log in graphically and I can work using the graphical environment, guys. I can continue working using graphical interfaces. So that's what graphical target means. You are going to boot up to the GUI. But guys, for that, GUI must be installed. GUI is just another software, guys. Not like other operating systems, guys. Linux-based operating systems, GUI is just another software. It does not have any speciality of having the GUI or not. Here you can see I have got the GUI, guys. I can use GUI tools. Here I have opened a terminal. I can open the graphical editor, gedit. I can work in the graphical environment. So this is GUI, right? See, I can work using graphical tools, guys. But guys, if you check server A or server B, what you can notice, you have got booted up to the command line only. You have only a command line login like this. You don't have the GUI login, guys. You have to work using the command line. Guys, if you want to temporarily switch to the graphical target, we have a command called systemctl isolate. Graphical target. But guys, the thing is, graphical software must be installed. Then only we will be able to switch to the graphical target. Now here you can see, guys, even though I try to switch to the graphical target, nothing will happen. Why? The graphical environment is not installed. Sorry. Yeah. Now we have got the graphical environment under workstation, guys. So in the workstation server, guys, if you try to switch to the command line mode, without a problem, you get the command line. Isolate means temporary switch to command line, multi-user target. See, you have got the command line login. You can log in using the command line, guys. You can continue working using the command line. You can't see the GUI. But guys, we know in workstation server, the graphical environment is installed. So let's assume the default target is set to multi-user target. Set default. Set default means the target which should get applied at the boot. So what I did, guys, for the workstation server, I set multi-user target as the default target. So at the boot time, it will check what is the default target. Now it's multi-user. So the system will get boots up to the multi-user target only, not to the graphical environment. The systemctl set default කියන command එකකින් වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? ඒකෙන් වෙන්නේ right machine එක on වෙන වෙලාවේ මොන target එකටද on වෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක decide කරන එක. දැන් එතකොට මෙතනදී එයා කියනවා machine එක on වෙද්දී on වෙන්න ඕනේ multi user target එකට කියලා. දැන් ඔයා මේක reboot කරොත් there'll be some slowness, guys. Just ignore that. If you reboot, you can see automatically the system is going to boot up to the command line only, not to the GUI. But since the GUI is installed, if you want, you can quickly switch to the GUI within a minute. Let's wait till the workstation server boots up, guys. Okay, so guys, here you can see still the machine is booting up. So we'll wait for another 1 minute or 2 minute time, guys. Then the machine will get boots up, then we can test, right? Okay, so guys, here you can see the system is booted up. Now you can try to log in. You have only the command line login page. Okay, right. So if you want to have the graphical login, guys, you have to use systemctl isolate. You can temporarily switch to the graphical target. Since the graphical environment is installed on workstation server, you can see you can switch to the graphical target. Right. Again, that will take some time, guys, because of the slowness. Right. Within a minute, we will get the GUI. Okay, so guys, you can see we have got the GUI login. Now you can log in using uh, the GUI environment. See. So guys, this is how you can switch between targets. Now we know what is the purpose of graphical target, what is the purpose of multi-user target. Huh? Guys, next we have to understand what is the usage of emergency target and rescue target. Right? Emergency target and rescue target. So let's see how we can test that. Right? Okay. Now, guys, when you boot a machine, okay, let's have a, when I reboot, what you can see, guys, at the boot time, here, guys, so guys, there's a slowness. So what I can do, right, just give me a minute, guys. Okay, so now, guys, I'm going to start workstation server. Now, guys, here you can see there will be a timeout. See, use up and down arrow keys to change the selection. Press E to edit the selected item. Guys, press any key. You can see it will stop the countdown. If you didn't notice that, guys, let me show you again. See, at the boot, you can see. See, here you can see a countdown, 10 seconds, 8 seconds. You can press any key to stop the countdown. Now it says press E to edit the selected item. Guys, press E to edit the selected item. Press E. Guys, here you can see the boot configuration file. We haven't booted up the system. අපි machine එක on කරගෙන නැහැ තාම. Machine එක on වෙන තැන මග නවත්තගෙන right? අපි මොකද කරන්න යන්නේ? Kernel entry එක select වෙන තැනට ඇවිල්ලා එතනදී ඔයගලන්ට පේනවා kernel entry එක select වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතන කියනවා countdown එක. ඒ countdown එක පාවිච්චි කරලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ boot process එක නවත්තගෙන press E to edit the selected item කියන එක press කරන්න. මම අප ඔයගලන්ට පෙන්නන්නම්. See? Guys, there will be a countdown. Press any key. It will stop the countdown. And read, guys. Press E to edit the selected item. Here you can see the kernel entry, guys. 5.14.0-70. Guys, this means the kernel version. Right? Okay, kernel version. Guys, there it should show another kernel, that is the rescue kernel. But they have removed that from the boot prompt. හරි නම් මෙතන තව kernel එකක් පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ rescue kernel කියලා. Rescue target නෙමෙයි rescue kernel කියලා. There should be another kernel called rescue kernel guys. But they have removed that. දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ rescue kernel එක remove කරලා තියෙනවා. ඉස්සරහට මම ඔයගලන්ට පෙන්නන්නම්. Right. Now press E to edit the selected item. Guys, here you can see a line which starts with the word Linux. Here you can see your kernel image, guys. Under root, you have your kernel image. VM Linux 5 points. This is your kernel image. Then you can see a UUID, guys. This is the UUID of your root partition. Root partition is UUID. Guys, the rest, console TTY0, console TTY0, no timer check, net interface names, crash kernel. Guys, all these are known as kernel parameters. Guys, you have to install kernel documentation to understand kernel parameters. There are thousands of different kernel parameters. Kernel parameters ගොඩාක් තියෙනවා. ඒවා අපිට මතක තියාගන්න මේ parameters පාස් කරලා තියෙන parameters හැම එකකින්ම kernel එකට change එකක් කරනවා. අපිට ඒවා මතක තියාගන්න බෑ. Right? එතකොට ඒ වගේම අපිත් තව parameter එකක් add කරන්න යන්නේ. Guys, even we are going to add another parameter. So at the boot time, we are going to interrupt the boot process. And then after that, we are going to add a parameter. What is the parameter, guys? I'm going to move the cursor to the line which starts with the word Linux. Go to the end of the line, guys. You can press end key. If you press end key, you will come to the end of the line. Guys, this last line is a separate one. Init.rd. Init.rd is a separate line. Init.ramfs, that is kernel drivers. init.rd කියලා කියන්නේ වෙනම line එකක්. ඒක කලින් line එකට සම්බන්ධතාවයක් නැහැ. එතකොට kernel parameters pass කරනවා නම් මේ Linux කියන වචනෙන් පටන් ගන්න lines වලට විතරයි pass කරන්න ඕනේ. init.rd එකට pass කරලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Okay. So here guys you can see I'm going to add another parameter, that is systemd.unit equals rescue.target. Then guys, if you want to boot with this change, press Ctrl X to start. Guys, just imagine you have done some mistakes, so you are going to erase. You have erased some other parameters by a mistake. Then හිතන්නේ වැරදිලා ඕන කන්නේවත් මැකුණා. දැන් මොකද කරන්නේ? ආයෙ මේ ටික ගන්නෙ කොහොමද? Guys, press escape key. You'll go back to the previous menu. Press E again, E to edit. Here you have the fresh line. Again, you can start, guys. Systemd.unit equals rescue.target. Guys, so what we have done, we have interrupted the boot process. We have interrupted the regular boot process. And we are asking the kernel to boot up to the rescue target, not to the default target. Default target is multi-user target, or it can be GUI target, graphical target. Without booting up to multi-user or graphical target, we force the kernel to boot only to the rescue target. Guys, we are not doing this in our regular tasks, guys. Whenever there is some problem, whenever your machine is not booting up, then only we will access the rescue target, right? Okay, then read the latter part, guys. See, press Ctrl X to start. Press Ctrl X to start. Okay, Ctrl X. Okay, so there's we have to wait some time till the machine gets boots up. We'll wait and see what's going to happen now. Now, guys, you can see the machine is booting up. It took some time, guys, around 2-3 minutes for the machine to start booting. Right. Right now, guys, at the bottom, you can see it says give root password for maintenance. Guys, this is rescue mode. Once you type the password, you are getting a prompt like this. See, give root password for maintenance. Once you give the password, now you're in a maintenance window, guys. Now you can check logs. You can see why the system is not booting up. You can troubleshoot. You can fix the issues. Right? Okay. So this is something like without booting to the usable target. In middle, we are going to interrupt and we are going to boot the system into some level where we can troubleshoot the problems. The machine එක සාමාන්‍ය විදිහට boot වෙන්නේ නැත්තම් මේක නිකන් අපි ආසාවට කරන දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. Right? මේ වැඩි අපි කරන්නේ මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් උඩ machine එක boot වෙන්නේ නැත්තම්. ඒ ඇයි කියන එක හොයාගන්න. Now you have a prompt, guys. Now you have a logging. Now you can start looking for the reason why the system is not booting up. Okay. So now we are in the rescue mode, guys. Just like the same way, you can switch to emergency target as well, guys. You can type systemd.unit equal emergency target. That is also possible. Now I'm going to force off this and I'm going to start this again. E to edit. Go to the line which starts with the word Linux. Press the end key. Systemd.unit equal emergency target. See? Control X to boot with the change. Now we will get moved to emergency target. We'll wait for some time till the machine boots up to emergency target, and then we will see what are the plus and minus between rescue and emergency. Okay, so guys, here you can see the machine is booting up. Let's see whether it will boot up to the emergency target or not. Here you can see another maintenance mode. It asks for the root password. Root password is read. Now we are inside the emergency mode, guys. All right, we are inside the emergency mode. Now, what is the concern, guys? What is the concern, guys? If you try to create a file, right, it says read only. Guys, when you got mounted to emergency target, when you got boots up to the emergency target, what is the difference? Not like rescue target. You can't do anything, guys. You can investigate, you can check for logs, you can see what has happened to the system, but you can't make any change. So if you use rescue mode, guys, not only investigation, you can make changes as well. But with emergency mode, you cannot make changes to the file system. So guys, if you want to make changes, you can mount the file system again. Mount -O, remount. Options, remount. Mount -O, options, remount, comma RW with read write / Okay. Now it says it got remounted. Now you can create files and folders. You can do whatever you want. Now it's very similar to rescue target. So guys, understand the difference between rescue target and emergency target. Within emergency target, you are not getting your file system mounted with read-write access. Okay. Read-write access. Now guys, there is one exercise related to this topic. It's better if you can try that. Let me tell you the page number. It's there on page number 248. Guided exercise, select the boot target. Guided exercise, select the boot target, page number 248. But guys, the thing is, since you are having only the command line access to your Red Hat workstations, right, you will not be able to perform most of this exercise. Right? Exercise again, godak deval what karana very way. Right? The GUI access form provide kala nathi nisa. So if you want to test these exercises, if you want to test these scenarios, guys, what you have to do, you have to install rhel9 server or CentOS 9 server as a virtual machine. And then you can test. Or laptop pe hari, desktop pe hari, GUI ekat ekkama rhel9 hari, CentOS 9 hari install karagattana me tika test karanna puluwan. Right? Okay. So you can go through the exercise which is there on page number 248. You don't have to do that. You can just simply go through the exercise, guys. Right. Okay, now guys, next we have to understand how we can reset the root password if the root password is missing. Because you may have heard about jailbreak. You may have heard about root your Android phone. Right? So guys, jailbreak, root your Android phone, right? Which means you are getting root access, guys. Which means you are getting root access to your machine. It can be your mobile phone, it can be your laptop, whatever. right? That is simply gaining access. එතකොට මේ feature එකක්. Some people call this hacking the root path. Guys, there is no hack in here. It's simply a feature. Huh? It's simply a feature, right? Which is available in Linux. මේක Linux වල තියෙන feature එක. Right? නැතුව මේක ඇවිල්ලා අපි මොකක්වත් hack කරනවා වගේ දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. අපි feature එකක් use කරන්න යන්නේ. මේ feature එකේ මොකද්ද තියෙන්නේ? root password එක නැති වෙච්ච වෙලාවක අපිට root password එක set කරගන්න පුළුවන් ආපහු. හැබැයි ඒකට ඔයගලන්ට server එකට direct access තියෙන්න ඕන. okay direct access තිබ්බොත් විතරයි මේ දේ කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි බලමු කොහොමද ඒක කරන්නේ කියලා. හරිම ලේසි. මොකද 아무තු දේවල් නැහැ. අර කරපු විදියම තමයි. right? අර කරපු විදියටම ඔයගලන්ට තියෙන්නේ වෙන පැරාමීටර් එකක් පාස් කරලා ස්ටෙප්ස් කිහිපයක් කරන්න විතරයි. Okay, here this time you can pass a different parameter, right? Okay, but for that, guys, you need the rescue kernel. In normal servers, guys, we can see that. But in our case, we have to run a lab script. They have disabled that. We have to run a lab script. I'll run the lab script and I'll show you the rescue kernel. Okay, so guys, here at the boot time, what you have to do, right? Guys, there you can see two kernels, rescue kernel and the normal kernel. Guys, here rescue kernel is not rescue target, right? This is rescue kernel, not rescue target. Okay, what rescue kernel can do? Guys, you may have heard about safe mode, Windows safe mode, right? In Windows, guys, safe mode means boot the system with the minimal requirements. Now in here, rescue target means whenever there is a problem, it will try to simply boot the operating system, not your applications. That safe mode means it's simply booting the operating system, not the application which we have installed. Right? Just like that, guys. Rescue kernel will do the same thing, right? So here you have to select the rescue kernel and press E to edit. Then here add a parameter, kernel parameter called rd.break, guys. rd.break. rd.break means break the boot process, right? Boot process එක break කරන්න කියලා. Control X to start with the changes, right? We'll wait and see what's going to happen. Okay, so guys, we got the prompt. Right. Now it does not ask for root password. It simply says press enter for maintenance. Right. See? Okay, press enter for maintenance. Now you are getting the maintenance mode without the root password, guys. Huh? Okay. Now you are getting the maintenance mode without the root password. That is the specialty, guys. It does not ask for the root password, current root password. Right. Now, guys, everything we are going to mount our file system. Everything means our file system with read-write access. Right now, it's mounted to a location called sysroot, not to slash. In our normal case, guys, in the norm case, it will get mounted to slash. සාමාන්‍ය විදිහට mount කරනවා නම් මේක slash එකටනේ mount වෙන්නේ. Then මේක mount වෙන්නේ sysroot කියලා තැනකට. අපි මේකට කියනවා sysroot jail එක කියලා. sysroot jail එක කියලා. Okay. එතකොට අපි බලමු මේක ඇක්සස් කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා. chroot sysroot කියලා කිව්වාට පස්සේ අපි දැන් ඉන්නේ ඒක ඇතුලේ. ඔයගලන්ට පේනවා දැන් අපේ ෆයිල් සිස්ටම් එක මවුන්ට් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ sysroot කියලා ලොකේෂන් එකකට. right. දැන් මෙතනදී අපිට පුළුවන් පාස්වර්ඩ් එක ප්‍රොවයිඩ් කරන්න නැතුව අපිට තියෙන පාස්වර්ඩ් එක ප්‍රොවයිඩ් කරන්න නැතුව පාස්වර්ඩ් එකක් සෙට් කරගන්න. passwd root new password should be 123 123. Okay. Right. Then guys, you have to do one more thing. Touch /auto relabel. Guys, here auto relabel means if you create a file like this, what will happen? It will recheck the Linux label for entire file system. මුළු file system එකේම Linux labels check කරනවා. Purpose එක මොකක්ද? දැන් අපි මේ ඔක්කොම කරලා modify කරන්න etc shadow file එක. අපි password එක වෙනස් කරනවා කියන්නේ etc shadow file එක තමයි modify වෙන්නේ. Guys, without booting the system properly, by breaking the boot process, by mounting a file system to a different location called sysroot jail. So we are changing the root password, guys. So if some damage happens to etc shadow file, passwords are stored under etc shadow file, guys. If some damage happens to etc shadow file, guys, what will happen? Nobody will be able to log into the server. Nobody will be able to log into the server. කාටවත්ම log වෙන්න බැහැ. ඒක නිසා තමයි මේ auto relabel කියලා හදන්නේ. මෙයා මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? මෙයා මුළු file system එකේම Linux issues තියෙනවා නම් right? ඒවා බලලා ඒවා correct කරනවා. right? මුළු file system එකේම Linux issues තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා බලලා ඒවා correct කරන එක තමයි right? මේ file එක හදන එකෙන් වෙන්නේ. right? okay? පැහැදිලිද? right. Then මේ විදිහට තමයි අපි root password එක recover කරන්නේ. අපි exam එකෙත් කරන්න ඕන පළවෙනිම දේ. දැන් මම මේකෙන් exit වුණාම ඔයගලන්ට පේන්නේ මුළු file system එකම relabel කරනවා. මුළු file system එකම Linux relabeling එකක් කරනවා. කරලා machine එක 123 කියන password එකත් එක්ක boot වෙනවා. right? ඒකට පොඩි වෙලාවක් යනවා. Okay, so guys, now you can see the machine is booting up with the new password. Right, okay. I have given the password as 123. Now I am able to log in. Yes, this is how we can recover the root password. This thing you have to do at the exam. Make a client exam. Right, okay. It's got ඊළඟට මම ඔයගලන්ට පෙන්නන්න යන්නේ හදිසියේවත් machine එක on වෙන්නේ නැත්තම්. right? අපි කොහොමද ඒක on කරගන්නේ කියලා. අපි හිතමු FS tab එකේ වැරද්දක් නිසා machine එක on වෙන්නේ නැත්තම් කොහොමද අපි ඒක switch on කරගන්නේ කියලා. Now, guys, here you can see server A. If you shut down and if you try to boot up, what you can see, guys, server A is not booting up. We'll wait and see what is the error that we are getting. Server A එක boot වෙන්නේ නැතුව යනවා. Right. ඒකට හේතුව තමයි right FS tab එකේ වැරදි entry එකක් තියෙන එක. Right. එතකොට අපි මේක කොහොමද fix කරන්න කියලා බලමු. Okay. So guys, here you can see the machine is booting up. Right. Okay. So let's see what will happen. See, it's trying to start a disk called dev sdz1. It's trying to mount a partition called dev sdz1. Right? But there is no such partition. So let's see. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. It will take some time. Okay, now guys, you can see it asks for the password, root password for maintenance. You can give the root password, right? Sorry, the new password is 123, right? Now we can open FS tab file, right? You can see there is a partition, a wrong entry called devsdz1. You can uncomment this. Sorry, you can remove that and you can save the file. Now you don't have any fake entry under FS tab file. Now you can try to reboot. Your system will boot up properly. Right? So guys, if you have any mistakes, what will happen? Automatically system will drive you to the rescue target. You should know how to troubleshoot. You have to check logs and you have to understand what is the problem and you can troubleshoot. Okay. All right. So guys, that's all for this chapter, guys. That's the content for this chapter, right? So guys, thanks for listening. I hope all of you will practice this chapter using a virtual machine. So you have to configure a virtual machine in your server and you have to practice this. So thank you guys. Have a nice day.